Hello and welcome to a Optimize Weekly Update. My name is Lori Mage and I am an Optimize practitioner and coach. Class 1, Year 2. We just wrapped up week 11 in the Optimize program, and for the last 7 days we have been focused on seizing the day and increasing our ability to build what we call masterpiece days. Masterpiece days. Why would we spend an entire week talking about building masterpiece days and seizing the day? Not only an entire week, but we're actually going to be spending the next 7 weeks on it. But the basic idea is that to live a really, really great life, what a great life includes is just a whole bunch of really, really great days, right? Stacking up really, really awesome days, little by little, day by day, week by week, decision after decision, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. Consciously or unconsciously, we're building our life for better or for worse, right? So it would be wise of us to focus on how do we make the best of this day? How do we seize the day? Carpe diem, right? Seize the day. How do we do that? And that's the first big idea that we started this whole week with, is today is the day. Today is the day. We really, really have to get that idea. If we want to build extraordinary lives and take advantage of this once in a lifetime opportunity we have, we really truly have to deeply understand the fact that today matters. What we do, what we say, what we don't do, what we don't say, it matters. And so today is the day. We want to increase our ability to take advantage of this day, to make the most of this day, to seize the day, right? So this is the first big idea. The second big idea is, okay, we've accepted the fact that today's the day. Now we want to focus on you. We want to focus on me. Me being the master maker of masterpiece days. Me and you being the master maker of masterpiece days. It's this identity, right? One of the ways I like to think about this is a blacksmith, right? When you think about Renaissance time period, a blacksmith, they might be super great at their craft and building these amazing swords, and people from all over the region would travel hundreds of miles to get a particular blacksmith to build their sword for them, right? Because they've mastered their craft. They're so good at it, right? And day after day, how did they get good at being a blacksmith? How did they get called the master maker of all the swords in their region? It was with diligence. It was with persistence. It was day after day being in the heat, trying to better understand how to make the perfect sword, right? And so one way we want to adopt this idea is that we're the blacksmiths of our lives, right? We're the master makers of our lives. And it's a skill. You know, we didn't learn how to build great days in school. Nobody taught us that. And we certainly weren't born with this natural skill to just build great days and to make the most of our time, right? We just were kind of going through the motions. So if we want to get really, really great at living life well, we've got to really adopt the idea that today matters. Today is the day to build your best life. It starts now. And we want to look at ourselves as being the master maker of building great days and take it seriously. What knowledge and skills, do I need to adopt and have to increase my ability to have more consistent good days, right? We're not going to have perfect days every single day. Very, very rarely will that happen. But we can get better at living great days, right? And we stack a few more of those up, when you think about the week having 7 days in it. If you can have 4 good days in the week, you've won the week, right? And then you win the week. You win 3 out of 4 weeks in a month, you've won the month, right? That's the idea of building a really, really great life that you feel deeply fulfilled, that you showed up at life and you gave it your all, is by stacking up a bunch of really, really great days. So today's the day. Start to see yourself. I'm seeing myself as the master maker and really adopting kind of that craftsman mindset of how to get better and better at building great days consistently over time. The third idea I'm going to share with you today is application 1, 2, 3. So if you're digging this idea that today's the day and you are the master maker, here's an action item you can do right now to start increasing your masterpiece days. The first idea of application 1 is to look back on your life over the last several years and Reflect on a time in your life when things were going really, really well, when you felt fully engaged with life, when your relationships felt dialed in, when your career was on point. And when you think about that time period in your life when things were just kind of lining up and you were feeling really, really energized and healthy and engaged with life, what were you doing specifically that helped create those results in your life on a daily basis? Right? So when I think back to times in my life where I felt on point, my relationships were really strong and my career was dialed in, it had a lot to do with like some of the basic kind of universal fundamentals that we all share. Like I was sleeping well, right? I was optimizing my sleep. I was eating pretty nutritiously. I was exercising regularly. Every single day I would get up and I would journal, and I have some sort of spiritual connection with my higher power. When I look back when life was going well, I was doing a lot of those elements, as well as engaging with laughter with friends, you know. I had some sort of physical challenges I was going after, like climbing mountains or cycling the STP when I felt most engaged with life and on point, right? And so it's really important that we look back and we become kind of the scientists and just collect data of like, gosh, when life was working well, what were the things I was doing that helped create those conditions, right? And we can pull those to the now. Which now, application 1 is to look back. What were the things you were doing when life was going well? Application number 2 now is to wave a magic wand and think to the future. What would the masterpiece day look like? If you could have, you know, money wasn't an object, location wasn't an issue, you know, there was no constraints in your reality at all. You can make a masterpiece day. What were the things that would be a part of that masterpiece day if you had a magic wand and you could just make it happen instantly? Really think about that. Take 15 minutes or so and just start jotting down when you wake up in the morning. Describe the room. What's it feel like? What's the first thing you do when you get out of bed? When you roll over, who's next to you? What's next to you? And then after you leave your bedroom, what do you do next? And then what do you do throughout the day that would really, really create a beautiful day for you? That when you stack up a bunch of those days across the lifetime, you're gonna live a great life. There's no doubt about it. You're guaranteed to live a great life if you have that masterpiece day. So we want to take the time to think about masterpiece days. And so when I think about my masterpiece day, it includes a lot of the things I just mentioned. It also includes an opportunity for authentic connections with people. Like I hunger for that. I want to get a chance to connect with my higher power. I want to read regularly. I want to learn regularly. I want to go on little adventures regularly, whether that's traveling outside of my state or outside of the country, or just trying out a new restaurant. I love to go on little adventures. And so I want there to be nature in my life, maybe watching a sunset on the ocean or watching a sunset in my backyard right now. But when I think about my masterpiece days, I'm creating something, I'm connecting to a higher power, I'm serving others, and I'm connecting with others in an authentic way. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at the past and bringing that wisdom to now, and I'm looking to the future and bringing that wisdom to now, knowing that that masterpiece day, it's out there, but I've got constraints of reality too. Like I work a 9-to-5 job. So I want to bring it all back to number 3 of the application is our current reality. So how do we bring the wisdom from the past to now? How do we bring the wisdom of our masterpiece day ideal, wave a magic wand, to right now and embrace the constraints of your reality, right? We can still optimize without being perfect. As a matter of fact, we're never going to be perfect, right? It's never going to be perfect. But what can we do a little bit today to bring a little more of that masterpiece essence to our day-to-day lives, right? And so if you've got young kids at home, like your masterpiece day is going to look a lot different than it will in 5 and 10 years, right? Because sleep's going to be out of whack a little bit, you know, but you want to embrace the constraints of reality. Don't be upset about the current reality. Like we want to make it a game. One of my favorite big ideas of the last 7 days was embracing the constraints of reality and looking at it the same way you would like a soccer field. So I grew up playing soccer, and I love this idea because whoever came up with the game of soccer, right? When we think about soccer, it's got a field, it's got goalposts. Like, would you even want to play soccer if you didn't know where the goalpost was? Would you even want to play soccer if there was no out of bounds? Like, you just chase people all over the place with the ball? Like, soccer becomes fun because there's boundaries and there's constraints on it. And we have fun with that. It's like, oh, the field's going to be this big. The goalposts are going to be this big. And we're going to use this ball, and you can only kick it with your feet. You can't use your hands, by the way. So let's go do that. And I grew up playing soccer and loved soccer. Played it in college too. And I can't imagine playing soccer where I actually like got to use my hands. Like, that seems like it would be cheating, right? I mean, what a fun challenge that is to only use your feet in this game we call soccer, right? So how can we bring that sense of fun into our current reality of like, here's the constraints. I'm going to go through life with one hand behind my back for the next couple of years. And I'm going to have fun learning how to use my left hand, right? So what are the constraints in your life right now? You currently work this amount of time during the day. You've got these kids in this type of activities. You've got X, Y, and Z going on. You maybe have some things where you're taking care of your elderly parents right now. Like, how can you have fun and be like, bring it on. This is a fun challenge. It's like playing soccer. And the rule is you can't use your hands. And the rule is you're going to create a masterpiece day. And you've got these constraints and these boundaries in there. Let's have fun with that. So anyways, that's a super cool, fun idea too. So application-wise, one, look back when life was going awesome. What were some of the things you were doing that are in your circle of influence, your circle of control, that helped create the conditions where you felt fully engaged with your relationships, your career was on point, your energy was vitalized? What were you doing to help create those conditions? Fast forward, magic wand, what's a masterpiece day look like for you 5 and 10 years from now? If you could have anything you wanted and got to wake up where you wanted and do the things you truly wanted to do, what would be included in that? Let's take the wisdom from both of those activities, bring it into our current reality, have fun embracing the constraints of our current reality as we optimize our day-to-day actions, knowing that to live a really, really great life is to get good at making this day awesome. Right? So take it one step forward further with that. What I want you to do, and what I did, is as I was looking at my current reality and I said, okay, what's one thing that I want to start doing over the next 7 days to optimize my days, to be the master maker of masterpiece days? What's one thing I want to start doing? What's one thing I want to stop doing? So this is a +1. And this is a -1. What am I going to stop doing to help me create masterpiece days where I show up as my best self more and more consistently? I have best days more and more consistently. And what's one thing I'm going to keep doing? And so after doing this activity, looking back, looking forward, embracing the current restraints of reality, I simplified it even further and said I'm going to start tracking. So I've got my AM going pretty good, but I need to track the whole day just to bring more awareness to what's going on. It's really an interesting phenomenon that when you start tracking something, you naturally improve at it. So if you just start tracking the food that you're eating, you'll start eating better. If you wear a little pedometer and you start tracking how many steps you take, you will walk further because you're tracking it. It's just a really interesting thing that happens. So for the last 7 days and for the next 7 days, I'm just going to be tracking it more to bring more awareness to it. And just in doing that activity, I know my days are going to improve. What I'm going to stop doing, one of the things that I know gets in the way of me having a masterpiece day is when I don't have great sleep. And so I've been working on how do I get my sleep routine down. And one of the things that I noticed this year is that I was super good by the end of the year. My sleep was going awesome. And then but for whatever reason at the beginning of March, all of a sudden I started bringing the phone in the bedroom when I went to bed, and I didn't even think about it until the end of the month, and I'm like, gosh, I just feel zapped a little bit. Realized just the little tiny decision of bringing the phone in the bedroom. I know I sleep better when it's not in there. I'm not watching things late into the night. I'm not listening to things late into the day, and I'm not waking up early with the vibes of the phone. So what am I stopped doing? No phone in the bedroom when I go to bed. So it actually goes on a charger out in the living room, so it's not even in the bedroom. I just wake up without an alarm. That's just how it works. And what am I going to keep doing? The one thing that I'm going to keep doing is my AM ritual. So that's pretty dialed in. My AM ritual, I know exactly what I do when I first get up in the morning. So the first thing I do is I get out of bed, I hit the start on the coffee pot, I go over to the living room floor, and I do a series of movements. The floor for those movements is just 5 minutes. Right now I'm doing about 7 minutes and 20 seconds. It's just some core movements. It's kind of loosening up my hips, my shoulders, my neck, my spine, things like that. Do that for 5 to 7 minutes. And then I drink 32 ounces of water. Then I sit down and I meditate for at least 5 minutes. When I get done with the move, the hydrate, and the meditate, then I go in to do what we call our Carpe Diem journal, which is basically setting my target for the day of how I want to show up in energy, work, and love. That's what I'm going to keep doing, is that morning ritual. If I do that morning ritual, it's really hard for me to have a bad day. When I've already eaten, I've already moved, I've already meditated, I've already hydrated, and I've set my day target. That's just a great place for me to start. So that's a recap really of week 11, a couple of the big ideas that we talked about as we were working on seizing the day and increasing our ability to build masterpiece days more and more consistently. In the Optimize program, we probably learn 20, 30 different big ideas each and every single week. So in an effort to kind of keep these videos shorter, I know at this point, I think we're like 15 minutes in or something like that. I'm just going to be sharing a couple of the big ideas. So again, we want to make the most of today. Today is the day. Today matters. How can we get better at that? It's a skill. We want to look at it as a scientist, just collecting data, what worked, what didn't work. When I do this, make the connection. When I do this, it tends to lead to this. When I do that, it tends to lead to that. I want more of that. I want less of that. So let's stop this, keep doing this, and start doing this, right? Application-wise, 1, 2, 3. Application, look back. What were things that you were doing that you were specifically doing that helped create the conditions for you to have a great relationship, dialed in career? What's your masterpiece day look like going forward? Bring it to current reality. Embrace the constraints of reality like a game. Don't get mad about it. Just accept that this is my life right now and love it. Appreciate it. Think about all the great things that are happening with that and work to optimize it. You can do both simultaneously. We'll talk about barbell strategy later. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe. If you're digging the content, I definitely recommend joining the Optimize program. For less than $10 a month, you can be a part of the program. You can actually participate in all of the master classes. It does cost a little more to be a part of the coach program and to get that certification, and you can only actually get enrolled in that once a year. But you're gonna get all of the great content that I'm getting just for less than $10 a month through the Mastery Series. So that's it for today. Hope you're doing awesome. I'll be back next week with a quick recap of some of the big ideas from week 12. Again, as we continue to figure out how to master, how to build masterpiece days, developing that skill set, knowing that today is the day. If we want to live a great life, we want to stack up a bunch of really, really great days in a row. See you later.